Is okay.
JD
Oh, there's a
is here. I'm going to start in just a second. Let me open up
okay.
my PowerPoint slide.
Okay.
All right. And let me share my screen with you. Share. If you want to turn off your video, that would be fine. And also put yourself on mute. That would be appreciated. Thank you.
Unmute. Noah, how do I put this?
There's
Oh, there it
a,
is on mute.
yeah. And then there's also a video. Yeah, there you go. All right. Good after evening. My name is JD, and I am the founder of AZ College Planning. I've been in this space for 18 years, since August of 2007. And I like to call this talk, You Don't Know What You Don't Know About College, but you really need to know about college, or how to not go broke paying for college. It all starts with the ranking system. And you've probably heard, this college is ranked number 1 in biology, and this college is ranked number 17 in engineering, et cetera, et cetera. The college ranking system is very important to the college. So let me explain why. Have you ever asked yourself, why would a college give out scholarships? Is it because they're kind and generous, or because they want or need a specific student? Colleges ask this question of every applicant. And that question is, how will the student impact our rankings? Will the student impact our rankings positive, neutral, or negative? If it's negative, they're just going to reject that student. If it's neutral, then they might admit the student, and they might give the student some scholarships, maybe $1 or $2 in scholarships, not very good scholarships. But if it's positive, then they're going to do whatever they can to recruit that student. And they're going to recruit that student with some really strong and great scholarships. So when a college identifies a student that they want, what they need, that will increase their rankings in one or more category, that college will do whatever they can to recruit that student. So let me go into some more detail into that. Whenever there's an upward trend in any category that's ranked, that attracts attention, and more attention means more applications and more application fees. I love the rivalries that go on between certain colleges. ASU and U of A, UCLA, and Berkeley are just a couple examples of that. This last year, UCLA knocked Berkeley off the podium and became the #1 public national university. We'll see what Berkeley does to try and regain that spot. Because UCLA did that, that attracted more attention. And with that, they had 149,900 students apply to the college, and it costs $80 to apply. So when you do the math, 145,000 times $80 is $11.6 million that was generated just in application fees. So what you need to understand is college is big business. And when a college is big business, they're going to do certain things for business purposes. Now that you know that, you can position yourself to win, because application fees bring in tens of millions of dollars. Colleges will do anything to manipulate their rankings. So let me tell you about Lynn. When Lynn came into the office, and when you come into the office, I'm going to ask you a whole bunch of questions. And when Lynn and her dad came in for the free consultation, I asked that question, what college are you thinking about? Do you have any dream schools? And Lynn's dad said she's going to NAU because that's all I can afford. And I said, let's play the game. And part of playing the game is, and that's what I want to do tonight, is to educate you on the rules of college admission and the rules of scholarships. And that's an ever-changing field. And we're staying abreast of all that. And I want to educate you on what those rules are. And one of those rules is apply to 6 to 15 colleges. When a student applies to one college and is admitted to that one college, also called early decision, I'd never recommend early decision. When that student applies to one college and is admitted to that one college, other than them saying, yes, come to our school, what else do they have to do to get that student to choose to go to their college? Nothing. Now, if that one college has to compete with 3 or 4 or 5 or more colleges, then that one college must offer some form of incentives. And the incentives that we want are scholarships. So when Lynn and her dad came in, Lynn's dad said, she's going to NAU because that's all I can afford. And I said, play the game. And we helped her identify colleges where she'd be a strong fit and really help that college's rankings. We also helped her with her essays. We helped her with her applications. We showed her how to market, how to sell herself to those colleges. So those colleges said, yes, we need the student to come to our college. And she applied to, I can't remember, 6 or 7 colleges, and she was admitted to 5 of them. And 2 of the colleges fell off the wayside for one reason or another. And it really came down to these 3 colleges: Willamette University in Oregon, Whitman College in Washington, and NAU. Well, the first college that admitted her was Willamette University, and they offered her $25,500 in scholarships per year. And Dad's net cost was about $20,000. Lynn was on cloud 9 for days. Dad, not quite so much. We still got a $20,000 gap. The second college that admitted her was NAU. And NAU, after all the scholarships and everything that was being offered, Dad's net cost was $10,650. Dad says, I can do that. I'd rather not. And then the last college that admitted her was Whitman College in Washington. And Whitman offered her $40,750 in scholarships and grants, and Dad's net cost was $5,000. When Lynn and her dad came in at the end of her senior year of high school, I was reviewing these award letters with them. And Lynn asks me, well, which college should I go to? I don't know. You choose it. Well, she ended up choosing Whitman College because that was the best aid package. And that, here's what's super awesome, is she received that same aid package all 4 years. Yes, she had to maintain a minimum GPA in order to renew her aid package. So she did her work with that. But what's super cool is that that scholarship covered 2 study abroads. She had one in Peru and one in Japan. And I'm really happy to announce now it's Dr. Lynn. So I'm super excited for her life and everything that she's going on with that. So here's the question. Why did the college give her that amazing scholarship package? Yes, she had good grades. Yes, she had decent test scores. But here's one category that they liked is girl going into a mostly male-dominated major. Don't ask me which one it is. I don't remember off the top of my head. That was one category. Another category that they liked was Arizona kid going to this college in the state of Washington. Now that college can go back to the college ranking publications and state, not only do we have smart kids coming to our college, we also have a diverse group of students coming to our college. We've got kids from here and there, all over the United States, including Arizona, attending our college. So we have geographic diversity. An important question to ask each of the colleges that your student is going to apply to is, what does that college value? And whatever that college values, do that. If that college does not value it, then don't do it. So in the case study of Lynn, we instructed her with which activities she should focus on while she was in high school, what clubs to join, what colleges to apply to. We showed her how to properly showcase herself to the colleges through demonstrated interest. and demonstrated interest is critical. We showed her how to write an amazing essay and how to follow up with those colleges. She did all those things, got admitted, and got an incredible scholarship package. The result was amazing. And I've got literally hundreds more of examples of that. And I'll show you a dozen or so as we progress through tonight's presentation. So we're going to learn several acronyms. The first acronym we're going to learn is COA, or cost of attendance. And the cost of attendance is everything. It includes tuition, fees, books, lab fees, student ID card, parking pass, meal plan, and all of that. Do you know what the parking pass is at ASU? Go look that up. It's an astoundingly large number to buy a parking pass to park at ASU. So we want to ask the question, what is the cost of attendance of this college or that college? And if you're looking at any of the in-state schools, ASU, U of A, or NAU, they're all hovering around the same dollar amount, which is about $35,000, $36,000 per year. And again, that includes everything: tuition, dorm, meal plan, books, the whole gambit is about $35,000, $36,000 a year. Now, if you're looking at the honors program, so NAU honors, U of A honors, or even ASU Barrett honors program, you can add some dollars on top of that. So now you're looking at about $38,000, $39,000 per year. So one of the things that I really strongly encourage you to do is go visit some colleges. And if you're in the greater Maricopa County area, go visit these three colleges. Go visit ASU, go visit Grand Canyon University, and go visit Arizona Christian University. The reason why I'm asking you to go and visit these colleges is because, again, if you live here, it's not a very big time commitment. Maybe 30-minute or 45-minute drive to any one of these campuses, depending on where you live in the valley. And then an hour or two on the tour and that. And there are three very different types of colleges. We've got ASU, large public university. We got Grand Canyon University, a mid-size private college. And then we've got Arizona Christian University, which is a small school. There are three very different types of colleges. And when you visit Arizona Christian University, look at it through two lenses. The first lens is the size of the school. It's about 1,000 students there. So size is one lens to look at. And the other lens to look at is the religious lens, because it is affiliated with a Christian church. There are some religious requirements with that. So go visit these three colleges so that when you do go to visit colleges in Chicago or San Diego, University of San Diego, or you go visit Pepperdine in California, or you go visit University of Oregon, or you go visit Texas Tech, or even a college in Florida, because you've already visited some colleges, now you can weigh, balance, compare, and contrast the colleges you've already visited with that college that you are visiting. And regardless of whichever college you do go and visit, and to go visit, you would log on to the college's website, click on the register for the tour, sign up for the tour, and then go on that tour. After you go on the tour, or after you talk to any of the admissions board at that college, if you don't walk away with the impression of, wow, that college is amazing, I want to go there. If you don't walk away with that impression, know that they did a bad job. That's their job, is to sell you on their school. One of the other categories that's ranked, and I think is probably one of the silliest categories to be ranked, is most expensive college. So we already talked about in-state schools being around $35,000, $36,000 to $39,000, depending on if they're going to regular or if they're going to the honors program. Harvey Mudd College in Los Angeles is ranked as one of the most expensive colleges, and they're hovering at $98,984 per year. NYU, I want to go to NYU, yay. NYU is hovering around $96,900 per year. And UCLA out-of-state cost is $80,739 per year. So take that number and then multiply it times 4 years. If you really want to scare yourself, do this. Go to the college's website. In the search bar, type in cost of attendance. It'll bring you to that page. Sometimes they already add the numbers together, sometimes not. If they're not added together, get out your calculator, add those numbers all together. And then to scare yourself, do this. Multiply that times 4 years. And then multiply it again times the number of kids you've got. 2 kids, 3 kids, etc. That's enough to give anybody a coronary right there. And have you asked yourself, how in the world are we going to be able to afford it? And I've talked to literally over 1,000 families, and these are some of the ideas that they've told me as ways to pay for college. And one of those ways, and the first way that always comes up is, my kid's going to get a private scholarship. So let's put a definition on what private scholarship is. That is a scholarship that your student applies for and wins. If your student receives an email or a letter and it says, congratulations, you won a scholarship, and they did not apply for it, it's a scam. Especially if that letter says mail us $100 and we'll tell you which one you've won. That's definitely a scam. So first off, your student has to apply for it. And if they win that scholarship, it's portable. They could take it over to NAU. They could take it over to TCU in Texas. They could take it over to Creighton in Nebraska. They could take it down to San Diego State. It's portable that way. Versus if your student won the Wildcat Scholarship through U of A, that Wildcat Scholarship is only available if your student attends U of A. So private scholarships are portable. And of the $135 billion of aid that's available, less than 2% of that consists of private scholarships. Everybody wants to go after these private scholarships, these pennies. I want to go after where the big money is. And the big money is going to be in these 3 categories. And the first category is state funds. I want to get as much state funds as we can. The second category I want to get money from is federal funds. So I want to get as much federal aid as we can. And then the third category, which is the biggest of all of them, is college endowment funds. There are some colleges that are rich, and there are other colleges that are just flat uber rich. Harvard claims the #1 spot as being the most wealthy college at $50 billion with a B, $50 billion in their endowment. That account produces enough interest that every student that they admit to Harvard, they could give a full ride to. Do they do that? Absolutely not. I'm really watching ASU carefully with President Michael Crow. When Michael Crow came in and became president of ASU, he had what they called the 2020 initiative. And by the year 2020, he wanted to get $1 billion in ASU's endowment. Well, he didn't hit it. It was like 950 million back then, but now we're way over $1 billion. For something that's really fun, if you want to do this, go to the internet and type in the name of the college and then type in endowment fund and see what that number is. Another category that parents have told me as a way to pay for college is, my kid's an athlete. My kid's going to get an athletic scholarship. And I'm sorry to tell you this, if your student is not the next NFL, NBA, or Olympian, the likelihood of getting a full athletic ride probably not going to happen. Now, America's pastime, baseball, the average men's baseball scholarship is $13,000. That is way short of the total cost of attendance. And the way that some of these athletic scholarships work is they'll have a scholarship amount, maybe 13 grand or whatever, but then they split it between 2 or 3 or 4 or more athletes. So we're getting way short of the total cost of attendance. If you want to go after the moneymaker sports, the moneymaker sports are going to be football and basketball. Another strategy that parents have told me as a way to pay for college is I've saved some money. Now, God bless you if you're the average family has saved $10,000. God bless you if you save more than that, then you're better than the average. But how are we going to make 10 grand go where 120 should or 400,000 should? Okay. And then also think about this. The money that you have saved, how does a financial aid system look at it? There are 3 buckets of money, and the first bucket of money that's money that's in the student's name. That gets assessed at the highest percentage at about 20 to 25%. The second category is money that's in the parent's name, and that gets assessed at a lower percentage at about 6%. So sometimes just by rolling over who the owner is, no, the student's not the owner, the parent is the owner of this financial product, we might be able to qualify for more need-based financial aid. Then now there is a third bucket of money, and that third bucket of money is money that is under the retirement system. So 401ks, IRAs, Roth, SEPs, those types of retirement products are not assessed. We want the bulk of our money to be in a not assessed pile. Okay. But JD, we have a 529. What about that? Well, a 529 is considered a parent asset. Thank you, JD, for telling me that, because we have a 529 and you just told me that parent assets are hit at 6% instead of 20 to 25%, right? Yes. However, as soon as you expose to the college, I have a 529 savings plan, the college is going to go, tag, that's my money, I want it, and they're going to split it into quarters, 25% the freshman year, 25% the sophomore year, et cetera, et cetera. I had a family who had a 529. They had $40,000 saved in their 529. And when they exposed that to the college said, tag, that's my money. We want 25% or $10,000 the freshman year. And they actually reduced the aid package by $10,000. Now, here's my disclaimer. Before you move money around or any of that stuff, you've got to find out how is it going to impact financial aid? How is it going to impact your taxes? And I'll be happy to have that conversation with you in the free consultation when you come in for that. Because sometimes it's smart to move money and sometimes it's not. Each family situation is unique. Another strategy that parents have told me as a way to pay for college is we're going to pay as we go, or a payment plan. A lot of colleges are starting to offer payment plans. And what's really interesting with the new One Big Beautiful Bill, the One Big Beautiful Bill has put a cap on the amount of federal educational loans that a family can take out. And it's $25,000 per year with a total cap of about $65,000. Now, that's way short of the total cost of attendance. What are colleges going to do? They're going to have to figure it out. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the course of the next year as this new law comes into play and all that. But again, some colleges are going to offer some payment plans. As an example, La Sierra University in Riverside, California, the last time I looked at it, they had a payment plan and it was $75 a month. That was their fee, plus whatever the monthly payment was. Most colleges are going to want a full semester paid up front. Another strategy that parents have told me as a way to pay for college is we're going to borrow the money. And there is a loan called the PLUS loan, parent loan of undergraduate students. And I already alluded that there is going to be a cap on that of about $65,000. I'm not certain when that's going to actually go into play. It could go into play in July of 2026, or it could be several years after that. Again, I'm not certain. We'll just see what the federal government does with all that stuff. I had another family who came in for a free consultation, and they had an award letter that they wanted me to review, and they wanted to know if it was a good award letter or not. When you apply to a college and you submit your application to the college, you'll get a notification from the college that says we've received the application. And then maybe a couple weeks or a couple months later, you'll get a notification from the college that says you're admitted or you're not admitted. If it's not admitted, that's the end of the conversation. And that actually, that's not the end of the conversation, because we can't appeal that. After you get that acceptance, you are admitted. Maybe a week later, maybe a couple months later, you'll get an award letter. And the award letter reads like an invoice. It's going to list all of the scholarships and grants and loans, work study, and anything else that is offered on that award letter. And this family came in and they wanted to know what the heck they were about to sign for. And they were really, really excited because they were showing me the award letter of their student, and it said $25,000 PLUS. And they're like, woo, we got a scholarship, hooray. And I had to break their hearts and say, I'm sorry, that is not a scholarship. That is a loan. And they actually didn't go that route. Their daughter ended up going to a private college, and she got an amazing scholarship package. And when Courtney graduated from college, she graduated 100% debt free, and the parents didn't take out any educational loans either. That's exactly where we want our students to start their life, is without all that excess student loan baggages. And colleges are really eager to hand out loans. We don't want loans, we want scholarships. Number 6, as a way to pay for college, that some parents have told me, is we're going to use the equity in our home. I won't go into the details on that. You know what that is. And then the last option is liquidate retirement accounts. Please don't do that. Retirement accounts are for retirement. Okay. Don't throw a college out based solely on the sticker price, but do ask, how are you going to pay for it? Okay. Don't throw a college out based on the sticker price. When you're looking at ASU, $35,000, $36,000, maybe $39,000 if they're going to the honors program. And then you look at Pepperdine at $95,000. It's not double, it's triple the cost of ASU. No, you're not going to go there. We can't afford it. No, please stop. And don't throw out a college based on the sticker price, because private colleges know that they have to compete with in-state costs. And if a college really wants a certain student and they identify that student that they need, they will make it financially viable for your student to attend their college. This is where we at AZ College Planning, we really excel with helping students and showing students how to properly market themselves to those colleges, what activities and things to be involved with while you're in high school, how to write a stellar essay, how to get an amazing GPA, how to get a really strong SAT or ACT score. We'll guide your student on how to do all those things so that they stand out, and that college looks at your student and says, we need your student to come to our college because your kid will make a positive impact on the categories that we value are ranked. And they're willing to throw us some scholarships, knowing that that higher ranking will attract more attention. More attention means more application fees, and they'll make that money up on the back end. That's an area that we really excel at. An important question that you've got to ask each of the colleges that you are going to apply to is, what is the average timeline for students to graduate from your college? How long is it going to take my kid to graduate from your college? The average graduation timeline at a public college is 6 years. 6, not 4. And there are several reasons why that is. The first reason is a student tries to get into a particular class. I need to get into the 100 level class before I can get into the 150 or the 200 level class. And that 100 level class is full. And if they have to wait till the next cycle, and that next cycle is the next semester, or worse, the next year, then they've got to wait an awful long time to try and get into those classes. I've got a strategy I'll be happy to talk about later on how to get into those classes that are full. If you go to my website, azcollegeplanning.com, you can click on the college results and type in the name of any college, and the average graduation timeline, don't be average, the average graduation timeline at ASU is 6 years. The average is 66%. 66% are taking 6 years to graduate. Again, as I said, one reason is because that class is full, they can't get into it. But the most prevalent reason why it's taking students so long to graduate is because they flip-flop between majors. This week I'm a biology major, next week I'm a business major, the next week after that I'm a philosophy major. That sounds really cool, I'll do that. No, I'm back here, I'm undeclared. Every time a student changes majors, that pushes the graduation window out further and further. And one of the things that we do at AZ College Planning is we help students research careers, majors, and colleges, so that when that student goes to that college and goes into that degree program, they stick with that degree program and they graduate with that degree in 4 years or less. That's my goal for each student that comes through our program, is to get into some great colleges, get some amazing scholarship packages, and graduate in 4 years or less with as little student loan debt or zero student loan debt as possible. And we do that with our career award-winning, we do that with our award-winning career assessment tool, which will help your student identify careers and majors, and then ultimately colleges. There are a lot of really good career assessment tools that are available. I think the one that we use is probably the best one, because about 70 to 80% of the colleges all use the same program as we do. Whether you use mine or you use someone else's or any of the other ones that are available, once you generate that list of occupations, the question always comes up, I have this list of occupations, so what do I do now? And that's something that we figured out, and we have a strategic proprietary program that will instruct your student on how to research any occupation. Go through these 11 steps to research this occupation, and that will help your students solidify, yes, this is the direction I want to go into, and they stick with that major and graduate with it in 4 years or less. Here's my story. That's me. That's my high school senior picture. When I went in to talk to my guidance counselor at my high school, I walked into her tiny office. Hi, Miss Nuss. She says, hi, JD, how are you? I sat down and she says, JD, you should be an art major because you're a good artist. Okay, next. And that's how much time I spent with my guidance counselor. And I thought about it for all of about 37 seconds. And I thought, artists don't make any money. I've got to do something else. And at that time, when I was a senior in high school, I had a friend who was a freshman in college at Biola University in Los Angeles. And I was talking with him on the phone, and he says, JD, you got to come to the school. It's so awesome. We have the most amazing beach bonfire parties. And we had some amazing beach bonfire parties. And the girls here are so cute. I'm like, dude, I like that. And then he said, and then I asked the question, do they have a graphics department? He says, yeah. And I said, dude, I'm in. And that's how much thought went into me picking my career, major, college, and all that stuff. What ended up happening is I ended up getting an internship. And I highly recommend this for your student as well, is get an internship. I ended up getting an internship late. I got it in my junior year. I really wish I would have done it in my freshman year of college. And I got that internship at a graphics house, and I discovered I don't want to do this the rest of my life. And I had to reset and all that stuff. So again, what we want to do is we want to help your student pick out their path. This is the major, this is the career I want to go into. And whatever that major and career is, it's a well-paying career that they can go out and live whatever lifestyle it is that they want to live, and not live in your basement. I know there's no basements in Arizona, or very few, but you get the idea. So let's move on to financial aid. There are two main financial aid forms. The first one is the FAFSA form. You may have heard about this one. The website for that is studentaid.gov/FAFSA, F-A-F-S-A. And it is an acronym. It stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. There's a second form called the CSS Profile. And the CSS Profile is administered by College Board, collegeboard.org. College Board is the same entity that created the SAT test, the PSAT, APs, and a few other things, CLEPs, and a few other tests. And they administer the CSS Profile. Every college that you apply to is going to require the FAFSA form, and some colleges are going to require the FAFSA and the CSS Profile. There are several differences between these two forms. The first is there is no fee to submit the FAFSA, hence the name Free Application for Federal Student Aid. Now, the CSS Profile, that has a fee, and it is $25 for the first college and $16 for each additional school. So if you're applying to 3 colleges that require the CSS Profile, it's going to be $57. Okay. I just want you to be aware of that. The FAFSA is static. Colleges cannot add or subtract questions. The CSS Profile asks all the same questions that are on the FAFSA form. And then in the supplemental section of the CSS Profile, colleges can ask whatever question they want. And MIT is one of the colleges that uses and requires the CSS Profile. And in MIT's supplemental question section, it asks, what is your kid's cell phone number? I have a conspiracy theory for that. Why do they want to know what my kid's cell phone number is on a financial aid form? If your student is applying to MIT or any other college that is asking for their cell phone number on the financial aid form, make sure you instruct your student to say, I don't know, or 0. Another supplemental question that is asked on the CSS Profile is, what's the make, model, and year of your vehicles? JD, why are they asking me that question? Because if you state on there that you're driving a 2026 Bentley and your income is $60,000, those don't match, and they're going to start asking more questions. Now, JD, we make too much money to qualify for need-based financial aid. Why should we do that? Well, it's part of the game. And it is another way to demonstrate interest. And demonstrating interest is critical. When you submit the financial aid forms, the FAFSA and or the CSS Profile, that's a way to demonstrate interest, and you're showing the college, hey, I'm interested in your college. I'm giving you this data. I won't tell you the name of the college. I'll just give you their initials, USC. So USC is notorious for rejecting students who do not provide to USC everything that USC is asking for. And USC does ask for the FAFSA form. They also do ask for the CSS profile. And the reason why USC is asking for that information is because they want to know, if we admit your student, can mom and dad pay? So it's part of the game. And I've had families come to me and say, JD, we make too much money to qualify for aid. We make over 200,000. We make over 500,000. We make over $1 million. We're not going to qualify for any need-based financial aid. And I had a family, and dad came in, and he was a NBA athlete. You know how much NBA basketball players make? Lots of money. Millions, and that. Anyway, he came in and he swore on a stack of Bibles, we're not going to get any aid for my kids at all. And I said, let's play the game. And we did submit the financial aid forms. We assisted him with that. And the end result was we ended up getting his kid $20,000 a year in scholarships. He was super excited about that. Wait for it. The number one way to get more money from a college is apply to 6 to 15 colleges and negotiate. If you ask the college if they negotiate, they're going to flat out tell you, no, we don't. But I can tell you story after story about the success we've had with appealing and negotiating with a college to get more aid. Here's a quick little story. Danielle and her parents came into the office for the free consultation, and they ended up hiring us, and we helped Danielle. And she started in her sophomore year of high school. And as I was having a conversation with Danielle and her parents, I asked the question, have you visited any colleges? And they said, no, we haven't visited any colleges yet. I said, go visit now, please. And dad said, oh, we're going down to Tucson, and we're going to go check out some sites down in Tucson. And while we're there, why don't we go visit U of A? I'm like, yes. While you're there, take out a couple hours to go visit U of A. And they did that. And I don't know who the tour guide was at U of A back then, but that tour guide did an amazing job. Because when Danielle came back and we were having a conversation, hey, what'd you think about the college and the tour and all that stuff? She said, that college is amazing. I want to go there. That's the only school I want to go to. That's the only school I'm going to apply to. And I begged, please, please apply to more than one college. And she agreed. I can't remember how many schools she applied to, 6, 7, or 8 or something like that. Jump forward to February and March of her senior year of high school, and dad calls me on the phone and said, Danielle was admitted to U of A. We knew that she was going to get admitted because she met the requirements for admission, grades, and all that other stuff. And dad said she was offered 0 in scholarships. This is not unusual for certain colleges. Certain colleges will lowball the scholarships in the hopes that that family and that parent will just say, I guess it is what it is. We'll either pay it or we'll take out loans. So dad says she was admitted. We got 0 in scholarships. I don't want to pay full price. I don't want to pay $35,000 a year. And I said, what other colleges was she admitted to? Oh, she was admitted to this one and that one, and she was admitted to NAU. I said, oh, at NAU, did you get the award letter for NAU? And if yes, what scholarships were offered from NAU? And dad says, oh yeah, she was offered some good money at NAU, but she doesn't want to go there. I said, great. Take that NAU award letter and go down to U of A and say, they gave me this. What can you do? Not only did they beat NAU's offer, they also gave Danielle an iPad. Danielle was really excited about the free iPad. Dad was more excited about the scholarships. So apply to 6 to 15 colleges, and we'll be really happy to assist your student on identifying colleges that compete with each other. So ASU does compete with NAU, U of A does compete with NAU. So we want to identify those types of colleges, apply to those colleges, and have them go after each other and go, oh, we'll give this, we'll do that, to try and recruit your student to attend their college. So here's a few examples of our results. McConnell, he was admitted to NYU, and he was offered $65,820 in scholarships per year. And parents' net cost was $8,914. NYU looked at McConnell and said, yes, we need this type of student, this certain student, to attend our college. And because he will make a positive impact on the categories that we, NYU, value. And he did do that. And we add all those together. That's $263,280 in scholarships over the course of 4 years. Why was he offered that? Because he applied as not a theater major. If you look at NYU, 40% of the students are theater majors. Yes, NYU has a strong theater program. McConnell applied as a real estate and development management major, and NYU said, we need more of those kids. Here's Rohit's story. I love to ask this question. What's good? Good is being admitted to a college. What's better than that? Better than being admitted is getting a scholarship. What's better than getting a scholarship? Getting the full tuition scholarship. Now, when you talk to your friends or students or family, and they tell you that their kid got a full ride at ASU, U of A, or NAU, be very skeptical. It is very rare. It's extremely rare to get a full ride at any of the Arizona in-state schools. What they probably got was full tuition. And tuition is about $12,000 to $14,000. So 14 grand off of 35. Yeah, we still got a $21,000 gap on that. What's better than getting the full tuition scholarship? Of course, getting the coveted full ride. And a full ride covers everything: tuition, dorm, meal plan, books, all of that together. The only thing that mom and dad have to pay for with a full ride scholarship is transportation. Getting the kid from home to that campus, whether it be gas or an airline ticket or something like that. What's better than getting the coveted full ride? This example here, and I'll read it to you. He was offered all tuition and mandatory fees for 4 years. He was offered a $4,000 per semester cash stipend and another $1,500 per semester on-campus housing stipend that paid for his dorm, and an up to $6,000 one-time award for international study abroad. When you add all that together and subtract it from the cost of attendance, he was being paid $3,000 per year to go to college. What's better than getting the coveted full ride? Getting paid to go to college. Does this happen? Yes, it does. And we can show your student how to do that if this is something that they want to aspire to try and earn. Nicole got into WashU. She was offered $45,465 in scholarships per year. Parents' net cost 11 grand. When you add all that together, that's $181,860 in scholarships over 4 years. She got that each of the 4 years that she attended that college. And now she's off for her doctorate. Super excited for her with that. Here's Bruce. Bruce was admitted to University of Notre Dame. $51,016 in scholarships per year. Dad's net cost 13 grand. Dad thought that my tagline, it could be cheaper to go to an out-of-state private college than it would be to go to in-state college was just a sales pitch until we did it for his student, for his son. And when you add all that together, Bruce was offered $204,064 in scholarships over the course of 4 years to go to that college. He was also admitted to another college in Texas, and that college offered him $2,000 in scholarships per year instead of the $51,000 in scholarships that Notre Dame offered him. What's the difference between those two? Notre Dame really, really wanted him to attend their college, and that other college in Texas, they're like, maybe he comes here. I don't know. We really don't care. Then we did it again for his sister. His sister did go to a college in Texas, TCU. She was offered $216,820 in scholarships over 4 years. It was less expensive for her to go to this private out-of-state college than it would have been for her to stay in-state. But JD, are all of these students super brainiacs, have giant brains and have 4.0 GPAs and 1,600 perfect SAT scores? No. Here's an example. And this particular student, her initial is L. She had a 2.3 GPA. So you don't have to have perfect grades. And she had a okay test score. The long story short is, after scholarships and everything that Spring Hill College in Alabama offered her, it was less expensive for her to go here than it would have been for her to stay in state. And we helped her identify colleges where she would stand out, where she would make a positive impact on the categories that that college valued, because it all impacts their rankings. So when a college identifies a student that will make a positive impact on their rankings, that categories that they value, which this particular student did at that college, they're like, okay, let's give this student some really great scholarship packages. So again, you don't have to have perfect grades or perfect test scores. You just need to target the right colleges. And that's where we at azcollegeplanning.com can help with that. We can also help out with military academies. I love to tell a story about Tanner. When Tanner came into the office, he says, JD, I'm going to apply to the Air Force Academy because that's my dream, is to go to the Air Force Academy and fly jets for the Air Force. So I'm going to only apply to the Air Force Academy. And I said, please apply to all the military academies and every ROTC program and have a backup plan. And he agreed to all of that. A little while later, Tanner came into the office and he says, JD, I've been doing some research on the Air Force's website. And for the Air Force Academy, their minimum ACT score is 24. I got a 25. What do you think? And I said, they're going to take your application. They're going to throw it in the trash. Really? Yeah, because it's just barely above the minimum. So we plugged him into our program, and our program's called Beat the Test. And in the Beat the Test program, we instruct students how to properly study, prepare, and take the tests so that they get an amazing score. And Tanner went through the program. The end result was Tanner had a 29 ACT score. He got admitted to Merchant Marine Academy in Kings Point, New York. And when they were handing out assignments, when he graduated, they're like, where do you want to go? And he says, I want to go to Air Force. And he went to Air Force and ended up flying jets for the Air Force. So dream achieved. That's my goal for your student, is whatever their dream is, to help them achieve that dream and do it by graduating from college in 4 years or less with as little or no student loan debt as possible. I also love to tell this story about Jonathan. And Jonathan, when it was March or April of Jonathan's senior year of high school, we were having a conversation, Jonathan and his parents, and we were talking about the colleges that he was admitted to. And the college that he really wanted to go to was George Fox University in Oregon. And his parents said, we are willing to spend X dollars for you, Jonathan, to go to college. And anything above that, that's going to be on you, Jonathan. Take it out in a loan, scholarships, grants, sell a kidney, whatever. And based on what George Fox University was offering and what the parents were willing to spend for college, we were $5,000 short. And Jonathan says, I've got an idea. What if I defer admission? And you can do that at almost any college. You contact the college, fill out the appropriate form to defer admission. And what the college will do is they will hold your spot for a year, and then you can go the next year. It's almost like taking a gap year in that. John says, I'll defer admission, and then I'll go get a job. I'll save up $5,000, and then I'll go to college. I'm like, what are you going to do? Work a year, go to school a year, leapfrog it, work a year, go to school, work, on and on and on, and take 8 years to graduate? I'm like, no. Here's what I would like you to do. Jonathan, call up your admissions recruiter at George Fox and ask this. You know who your recruiter is, right? Now I'm asking Jonathan loaded questions because I had already instructed him on how to find who his admissions recruiter is. Oh yeah, I know who that is. Call them up on the phone and say this. My parents thank you for admitting me. Thank you for the scholarships. My parents are willing to spend X dollars for me to go to college. And based on the scholarships and everything that you're offered me and what my parents are willing to spend, I'm $5,000 short. What can we do? And poof, magically, another $5,000 appeared. And Jonathan went to George Fox and he graduated in 4 years, not 8. Cole went to La Tech. He got 100% of tuition plus extra. Chad went to Vandy, got $231,000 in scholarships. When Chad and his mom came into the office, I was helping him create a list of colleges, and one of those colleges that popped up was Vandy. And I encouraged him to apply to Vanderbilt, and mom said, please don't tell him to apply to Vanderbilt. Yeah, he's got the grades and everything to get into Vandy, but we can't afford it. We can't afford $300,000, $400,000 a year. And the end result is Chad got $231,000 in scholarships, and it was way less expensive for him to go to this out-of-state private college than it would have been for him to go in-state. And after that, I got a very nice email from his mom. Trevor went to TCU, got $212,000 in scholarships over the course of 4 years. And through the connections that he made through the college and through his internships, he ended up landing a high-paying banker position in Denver, Colorado. Recently got married and is making some really great money. Super excited about his life. Here's another student who went to NAU. He graduated 100% debt-free. Again, this is exactly where we want our kids to be when they graduate. Zero debt or as low as possible with any educational debt. I've got literally hundreds of examples of this. Jared was admitted to Illinois Institute of Technology, $39,900 in scholarships. It was less expensive for him to go to this college than it would have been for him to go in-state. Loyola Chicago, we appealed with this college and they ended up giving us $2,000 more per year. So $2,000, $4,000, $6,000, $8,000 more than their original offering, which was $28,000 per year. We asked for more and ended up getting that. So I want to help tell your student success story. And this is how we're going to do it. The services that we provide are one-on-one student meetings. They're personalized and they're personalized specifically with your student. We offer compassionate guidance and we will motivate your student so that your student stays on track and is confident with their college journey. So we'll have several student meetings. We'll also have several parent meetings. The parent meetings will be more on the financial side, look at your numbers and offering some ideas. on how to maximize on all scholarships. And then we also host a variety of different classes. I already mentioned one of those classes, which was the Beat the Test class. We also have a How to Study class and influencer marketing class. The influencer marketing class is hosted twice a year. It's right before the fall college fair and right before the spring college fair. In the influencer marketing class, I'm going to instruct your student when you go to the college fair or when an admissions recruiter comes to your high school campus, these are the questions you ask. This is how you develop rapport with that admissions person, and this is how you follow up with that person. That's an important step, because if that admissions advisor, that admissions recruiter likes your student, so here's the human psychology, if they like you, the probability of admission and scholarships goes up. If they like you and they know you, you'll get better scholarships, get admitted, and all that stuff. We've got a resume class, we've got an essay class, we've got a couple parent classes, and all that. So if you would like to come in for a free, complimentary, no obligation college consultation, please click on the link or send me an email. My email is jd@azcollegeplanning.com. Please include a phone number that you can reach at during the day. And our appointments can be virtual or they can be local if you live in the greater Scottsdale, Maricopa County area. We can have a meeting at my office. So fill that out. And here's another example. I love this example. I got this from Noah, and it's a text message, and I'll just read it to you. I got into Georgia Tech. Thank you for the 10-week plan you gave me. It helped me get into my dream school, which means a ton. I'll be attending Georgia Tech in the fall, and I got $32,000 a year in scholarships. It was the best aid I got outside of ASU, and all that. So super excited for him and his life as he goes forward and graduates from Georgia Tech with as little or no student loan debt as possible. That's where we want our students to graduate, when they graduate with a viable degree that they can immediately go get a job and be productive members of society. So at AZ College Planning, we are the experienced leader since 2007. You only got one shot at this. Don't leave it to chance. We are the nation's leading experts in admission and financial aid, guiding families with proven results since 2007. And we'd love to have you come in and talk to us. And again, it'll be a free consultation, no obligation at all. And when you come in, I'm going to ask you questions, and I will be very, very frank with you. I will say, yes, I can help you, or no, I can't help you. If I can't help you, I'll point you in the right direction. These are the things you need to do. Go do those things. And if I say, yes, I can help you, I already know that if your student follows our plan, your student's going to get admitted to some great colleges and get some amazing scholarship packages. So email me, jd@azcollegeplanning.com. You can also click the link that will be sent out. And here's my big sales pitch. Tell your friends about azcollegeplanning.com. If you do have any questions, send me an email, jd@azcollegeplanning.com. I'll be happy to answer any of your questions, or if you'd like to schedule a free consultation, I'll be happy to do that. Thank you very much for attending. Tell your friends, and I'm hoping that your student gets into some great colleges and gets some amazing scholarship packages. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.